When I first started running sound at our church, I was about 13 years old, and the guy who was running sound before me showed me the ropes. At the end of it all, the best I could really do was set up the sound system. I had no idea how the mixer worked, and I really didn't know how to get good sounds. I just did sound because nobody else wanted to. After a couple of years of mediocre sound and occasional feedback, I was visiting a recording studio, and the engineer let me sit in while he mixed down a song. I really discovered how much you could do when you knew what your knobs were designed to do. In this teaching series, I'm going to do my best to explain how a mixer works and give you a few guidelines that'll help you get the best sound out of your worship team and have them feeling confident every Sunday about the sound. In today's session, we're going to be concentrating on EQ. Now, EQ is a bit of a mystery to me when I first started running sound, and I didn't even touch the knobs because someone told me it wasn't a good idea. Now, today we're going to be working with acoustic guitars and vocals, but the principles we're going to discuss can be applied to any instrument or microphone. Now, before we begin, it's important to know a few technical things about EQ. EQ is just a tool that allows us to adjust the level at different frequencies. Now, you're probably used to hearing EQ in terms of high, mid, low, or treble, mid, bass, like on a guitar amp. But for the purpose of this lesson, we're going to be talking in terms of hertz. Hertz is the term we use to describe frequencies. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail than just high, mid, low. Someone once tried to explain EQ to me in terms of instruments, like that flutes, violins, cymbals use only high frequencies. Guitars, pianos, drums, those use mid frequencies. And then things like bass guitars, kick drums, cellos, those use low frequencies. Unfortunately, he didn't have quite the right idea. While it is true that the fundamental pitch may be higher or lower, the sounds of the instruments are made up of sounds all across the board. Our ears identify what instrument we're hearing, not by the note it's playing, but by the sounds that surround that note. Musicians refer to those as overtones. Overtones are how we know the difference between, let's say, a flute and a violin, even though they may be playing the same note. Overtones can span the whole range of frequencies, and this is where EQ comes into play. EQ is a tool that allows us to turn up the overtones that we'd like to hear more of and turn down the overtones that are bothering us. Now, if I've lost you, bear with me. I'm about to demonstrate this concept on the acoustic guitar. This is my brother Jonathan. He's one of our worship leaders, and he's going to play the guitar for us so that we can hear what's going on. Now I'm going to pop my headphones in so I can hear what's going on. Jonathan, can you give me the chorus of Jesus Paid It All on the guitar? Now what we're going to do is listen to the individual frequencies so that we know what's going on. Now we're listening to just the high frequencies. This is about 10 kilohertz and up. I'm going to point it down a little bit. This is about 5 kilohertz. Down to about 2.5 kilohertz. Down towards about 800 hertz. Down towards about 400 hertz. Now down to just the low frequencies. This is about 100 hertz and below. Now when we put all those frequencies together, you'll hear that it'll make up what we know to be the acoustic guitar sound. Now let's talk about the EQ knobs for a moment. The high frequency knob boosts or dips the frequencies above 12 kilohertz at an even rate. The low frequency knob boosts or dips frequencies below 100 hertz at an even rate. Now this is the part that no one really explained to me in all those years I was running sound as a teenager. The mid-sweep filter is a combination of two knobs working together. The sweep knob is nothing more than a pointer. This knob points to the frequency that we would like to adjust, and the second knob that we call gain boosts or dips the level at that frequency in what we call a bell shape, or round shape. Now in this case, we have two of those, allowing us a lot of flexibility. Now that we've heard those individual frequencies on the acoustic guitar, and we know more or less where those numbers lie, let's listen to the acoustic guitar and make adjustments to our EQ. Jonathan, go ahead and give me the chorus again.
All right.
Okay, so what I always do is start with whatever frequency is bothering me. At the moment, there's something in the mid-range that's kind of wah, 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 wah. I think that's around the 400 or 500 hertz. Let me point my mid-sweep to that, and then pull the gain down. That cleans it up a little bit. That's nice. Now there's something in the higher mid, something about the strumming sounds that sounds a little bit harsh. I think that's around the 3 kilohertz, so I'm going to point my top knob to the 3 kilohertz and turn that down just a little bit. Okay. A little happier, but I'd still like to hear a little more shimmer out of the acoustic guitar. Now, if I remember right, that's up in the higher frequencies, about 12 kilohertz and above. Let me turn that up. I think we've got a pretty good sound coming out of that guitar. Okay, you can go ahead and quit, Jonathan. Now that we've done that with the acoustic guitar, let's see what we can do with vocals. Jonathan, go ahead and give me your vocal channel.
Okay.
And we'll listen through again, like we did with the acoustic guitar. We're hearing just the high frequencies. It's about 10 kilohertz and up. Now we're hearing about 5 kilohertz. Now we're hearing about 2.5 kilohertz. Now we're hearing about 1K. Now we're hearing about 400 hertz. Now we're hearing only the low frequencies. That's about 150 hertz and below. Okay, put it all together. We've got our vocal, right? Now that already sounds pretty nice. Let's see what it sounds like up against the acoustic guitar. Now when you hear it up against the guitar, you hear it's not really blending quite as well as it could. Well, what's the difference between them? Well, the guitar sounds a lot brighter, right? A little fuller. Well, one thing I can do is take some of the mid-range out of the vocal channel. I'm going to point this to about 600 hertz and pull it down a little bit, see what that does for the sound. Okay. That helps blend a little bit. Still something lacking in the mid-range and the upper mids, probably at about 3 or 4K. Okay, so I'll point that to about 3.5. Turn this knob up. Maybe give it a little more shimmer in the high frequencies. That's blending nicely. At this point, I'm really pleased. The only thing I would add is maybe a little bit of reverb. I'm really pleased with that. Now that we've done all that, feel free to experiment with EQ at your own church on your own mixer. Make sure everything sounds clean and natural, and take your time.